be one of your presenters today. Along with my colleagues Kevin Chavez and Richard Condor, we're going to be presenting to you a poem by William Blake called The Tiger. So without further ado, I shall hand it over to Kevin.
Now we'll start off with the poem. Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeper skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the cinders of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp? Dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who make the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright, in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Now, what the first half of the poem what the very beginning of the poem talks about is just a simple description of a tiger, and exactly what is a tiger. It's a bright orange creature, a lovable creature as well. And then throughout the second half of the poem, it starts talking about the creation of a tiger, like combining the beauty of a tiger with the ferocity and dangerous nature of a tiger to create the little tiger cub we have here.
So before we go through style analysis, let's talk about some connections to Romanticism and Frankenstein. So first is the idea of the tiger as a killing animal, like the embodiment of killing, much like the monster in Frankenstein. Basically, both the tiger and the monster in Frankenstein are similar to drones or robots in the fact that they don't need as much resources as humans do. The idea of a being that continuously hunts you is something that is really disturbing. So in Frankenstein, the monster will never stop hunting Dr. Frankenstein. And there's nothing really he can do about it because he's a target. Second of all, we have the presence and the beauty of nature, especially the forest. In Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein goes to the forest and he finds pleasantness in there, whereas in the tiger, there's also pleasantness in the forest. That the tiger's really beautiful, which is basically what I'm trying to say. Lastly, we have the theme of the power to create life, whether or not that's in God's hands or humans' hands. In Frankenstein, Mary Shelley believes that a human can be able to create life from a dead body, whereas in this poem, William Blake is basically describing how only God can create something that is so beautiful as this tiger. And this connects back to, this is an image from Michelangelo's God touching Adam. God is basically giving life to Adam. And below here you have a phrase in Latin, all life is from life. And basically that refers to an idea we also call as biogenesis, basically the birth of life. Science, we've been able to determine a lot about the known universe, except we don't exactly know what causes life. What is that little spark that gives somebody life versus a dead body? Next. That was scary. It scared me too. Let's start looking at style, and we'll go to diction first. So, William Blake in his poem blends both the beauty of the tiger and the deadliness of the tiger in the second half. In the opening lines, he first starts off as describing the tiger as burning, bright, and in the forest. And, sorry, do you want to look at that more? Burning, bright forest. So basically, in order to determine why he uses this type of phrasing, we look at exactly the kind of colors that the tiger comes out in. A tiger is orange, which is really close to red, which is an exact complement of green. And the thing about complementary colors is that they bring out the best in each other. So for instance, red and green, orange and blue. In this case, orange is close to green, close complement to green. And basically what complementary colors do, as I said before, is they bring out illusions of highlighted edges. So if you've ever seen green versus red like a Christmas decoration, they both bring out the best in each other and they create this kind of line on the outside if you look really closely. Basically this beauty is just luring the reader in, and it just shocks the reader at how beautiful this one creature can be. In the second half, Blake talks about the creation of the tiger in God's furnace, and he describes the creation as deadly, with full of dread and terrors. This is a major contrast to the beginning. Basically, in the second half, Blake is describing this tiger's inner soul for living, why it was created. It's a beautiful animal, yes, but it was made solely for killing. It's like a sword or a gun. But really, in reality, you see a lot of swords or guns that are really beautiful, but we forget sometimes that they kill people and they kill things. I think that's Kevin next.
Now, for Blake's style, a large majority of the poem is simply questions that he gives us to ask ourselves. And the very first question that he answers, in fact, the only question that he answers, is specifically, what is a tiger? A tiger burning bright in the forest, noting the beautiful symmetry that it has. And the main purpose of the first few lines of this is just to set up the image of a tiger, like what it is, how beautiful it is, so that later as we progress through the poem, then we see the transition from the idea of a simple tiger to the thematic concept of the whole thing, which is capturing the focus of the deadliness of a tiger versus the beauty of a tiger. And the next question that he asks is the repeated question that he asks is, who could make the tiger? Like, who could, what hand would be able to make the tiger? What heart would have the heart to do it? What brain would be powerful enough to do so? And it leads into questions of, like, specifically why was this done? Why does horror exist within a beautiful tiger? And it slowly branches off into bigger and bigger concepts, like why does malevolence exist so close to righteousness? And then you branch off into the biggest concept of them all, which is, why did their creator choose to allow this to be in our world, not just in the tiger's world? And as the poem comes to a close, the final question that asks is not who would be able to who could create the tiger, but who would dare to create the tiger? Who would, who specifically would? Like, would God, would the devil, would Tiger Woods? It could be anyone. And explores upon the grounds in which the tiger and basically all natural evil that occurs in the world, how it could come into existence.
For the detail in the poem, it demonstrates the admiration and fear experienced by Blake as he describes the tiger. His admiration towards the tiger can be seen in the quotes, "Burning bright in the forest of the night," and when he asked, who could frame thy fearful symmetry? For when it says burning bright in the forest, it's describing the bright orange fur of the tiger, and usually brightness, people tend to go towards where it's brightness, and especially when it contrasts towards the dark forest. And also for the symmetry, it makes the tiger seem less chaotic because it seems more organized and graceful. For the fear towards the tiger, it can be seen in the quotes, "Could twist the sinews of thy heart," and also in "What furnace was thy brain?" and "If the tiger's creator smiled in his work to see." For the commentary, when it describes the tiger in the heart fibers, it shows that its emotions could be twisted into being dangerous, and it also creates the question of if the creator could be happy if it created something that was both beautiful and dangerous, and also that if it reflects the creator's characteristics, since it is usually said that animals